So today I want to talk about how I do these collage paintings and how I start them or get them started and begin the process of doing them. So this started the main focal point of the woman and the bird started on a piece of heavy duty watercolor paper, and this is all painted in acrylic paint. And then I cut this piece out. I painted the background on the canvas. Now this canvas is also very heavily collaged with paper. So this whole canvas has been covered with paper. It's very heavily collaged in an uneven way. So like you'll see the lines of the paper going in different directions, and it's got a lot of texture to it, which I really love. I don't always paint this way, but I do paint this way sometimes, and I really like the texture of the collage. So in this video, you'll see me building these layers, which is really kind of how I do these collage pictures sometimes. And then here I'm at a point where I can start adding the final details because I've gotten everything all down on the substrate, and now I can go in and tweak the values of the colors in the background. I can add details to the foreground, and I'm at a point where I can move forward with the painting from this stage on. And you'll just see how I built it and glued it all together, and how it came to be the way it is right as you see it now. So let's hop inside. This is going to be a really short video, but I'm going to show you how I got to this point. So here you can see I'm just taking this big cutout that I cut out of a full sheet of watercolor paper, because this is a 20 by 20 canvas. So it's not finished, I just have the main colors and I have the flesh tones all blocked in. I'll be working on this more once this is all put together. I just painted a basic background at that point. Now I split it into basically 3 colors. I got some of the foliage I wanted to get in, marked down. Again, there's only one layer on everything. This is super loaded matte medium, which is a little bit thicker than regular matte medium. And I'm going to spread a very generous amount on the back of the watercolor paper. This is Arches watercolor paper, 140 pound. So it's a very nice sheet of watercolor paper. I also really like the Fabriano watercolor paper, which is a little less expensive, but I've had this paper for a long time, so it's really nice watercolor paper. So I have it in my studio, so I'm using it. And then I'm just going to spread this down in an even layer on the paper. Now you want both of the areas covered, so my little trick is to cover the entire piece of paper with a nice layer of it. And then what I do is I turn it over. I kind of get it set where it needs to go. Just about where it needs to be. I press it down just a little, and then I'm going to pull it back up when I'm done. And then I'm going to put more on the canvas. And I'm going to put just about the same amount I put on the paper on the canvas now. Now this canvas has not only paint, but it was, like I said, this had paper on it, it had gesso, it was primed, it was painted. And so there's a lot of layers on here already. So now I'm putting this matte medium. Matte medium And this is the super loaded, so the thicker kind is exactly the same as the paint, except it does not have pigment. So it can act as a glue. Now, once you put this down, the difference between this and something like PVA glue or Mod Podge is that you can paint directly into this. So if this is still wet, you can just go right into it and start painting, and it won't matter because it's essentially the same makeup as the paint. So now I'm painting over the top of this with more medium. Now, if this were watercolor or gouache, it would move the paint because we would be reactivating it, but this is acrylic paint, so I don't have to worry. If you were doing something with gouache or watercolor, you would have to use workable fixative or something to set your paint in place before you did this. You might see that I have like a little bit of a white edge around the hair and stuff. This painting is not finished, so it needs to have more detailing added to it. The big cuffs on the dress are not painted yet. Those are going to be lace, so I'm going to have to paint, white paint. Now, when I say white paint, my white is never stark white. It will be either a warm or cool white, and then it's going to have detailing because it's going to be lace. So none of that's been painted yet. And I want this to blend into the background. And I just have a very baby layer on that background right now. So now we're just blending all this in. I'm pushing it down into the canvas. And then as soon as that's done, we are just going to plop that brush into water. And then I'm going to get a really nice squeegee. And I'm going to push all of this excess medium. I'm going to take some of it off. And I'm going to really adhere this to the surface. The other thing I'm going to do, because this has some little tight areas, so some of the medium did build up in the tight areas between the cuff and the bird wings and things. I did wipe some of that up because I didn't want a big buildup. You see how much extra comes out when you start to push it down? I wiped some of that excess up. And then you don't have to wait for this to dry though. You don't. You can just start painting right into this. And your paint is fine with it because it is the same as painting with matte medium or gloss medium. It will mix seamlessly with your paint and you can just go right ahead. It doesn't have to be dry at all. You can just get in there and start painting. So now I'm going to go in and do some of the detail work or get started on it. And so my first thing that I thought I would do is just get rid of the white line around the hair and blend some of the hair color in to the background, because I have that big white line where I cut around her hair. Her hair's a little wavy, so I'm going to continue that theme, and I'm going to blend it into the background. Since there is a lot of texture on this canvas, I'm going over the cutout and into the background as I'm doing this, and I think it's going to look really good. And I'm probably going to add one or more, maybe a few more pieces of collage into the rest of the background. I haven't decided if I'm going to maybe add some flowers or some smaller flowers into the background with bits of collage. But yeah, that's probably part of my plan, so that there'll be other things that are raised above the level of the background, which I think will look interesting. Help it look more cohesive instead of just having the one thing that is slightly elevated. So there's a lot of things you can do that help it blend all together. Like some people use, a coat of varnish at the end. You could either use matte or gloss varnish. There's something called leveling gel, self-leveling gel. And sometimes people who heavily collage, I have a friend who does a lot of collage work, and she does a lot of heavy collage work, and she uses something called self-leveling gel. And so she puts the self-leveling gel on after she's done all this really thick and heavy collage. And what it does is that it just evens out that whole top surface and varnishes at the same time. And because she likes her pieces to have a really and smooth and level top, or I don't know if it's her or if it's her gallery likes that kind of really smooth look. So she does that to all her pieces. So, and yeah, she really likes the way they come out. I've used it a couple times. I don't, to me, I kind of like the texture of the collage. So I may gloss varnish it or matte varnish it. I've really been liking a very matte look lately, so sometimes that's what I just use. This particular piece is part of a series that I'm working on for a vegan restaurant, and I have a little show there. I had one all summer last year, and they've asked me to come back this spring with just some pictures of animals and just peaceful paintings of nature and animals. So I was really excited to do that because that's what I really love painting. So that's where this one is headed in May. I love it when I can kind of have like a little plan or a open, kind of more free and open idea of what to paint, and then I can just kind of take an idea and just let it evolve on its own rather than have to have a strict guideline. And always has, I'm painting, and even in these earlier layers, I'm thinking towards the finished painting, and you can even see as I'm starting to work in the hair, I'm starting to get some dimension, even though I'm not finished with it, by building layers of different values in her hair from light to dark. And that's what I start to do with everything. Because right now I'm kind of, all the rest of the painting is kind of in the mid range of values. So you'll see everything. If I were to take a picture and put this in black and white right now, everything is right in those middle value ranges. So we got to really look at it and, bring in some darks and bring in some lighter lights and really give ourselves a place for our eye to rest with some of these darker values and bring in some lighter values and really work on maybe bringing in some pattern or mark making to make this painting a little bit more dynamic and interesting. I really love what's happening with the colors, and I find the colors really interesting. I'm really interested in how colors react with each other, and I really love what's happening so far. I definitely have future plans for the bird, because right now he's just painted kind of a plain gray. So he's definitely going to become more dramatic. That's my plan for the bird. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like, share, and subscribe as it helps my channel grow, and I really do appreciate it so much. Thanks for being here, and please come again soon.